What's going on? Tonight, I want to talk about the new credit environment, the new rules for personal and business credit. I've gone through a few things this week, and I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going through some more stuff. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So, as always, this live stream was brought to you by B School for Hustlers. We build businesses and make money. This is the current special. The Corporate Toolbox, everything you need to start, structure, and scale your business. You can get in for $2,400 or 16 times $150. This special is only for the month of September. Prices will increase in October. We got a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different business models. So just to let y'all know what's going on. All right, so let's get some more people up in here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Let's see. We got to get the folks on the list in here. Get them in here. Let them know what's going on. All right. So got those folks coming in here. And we need some more folks. We need a lot of folks up in here because we're going to talk about some stuff tonight. There's some things that have happened this week. All right. So this is what has happened to me. I got 2 new credit cards, and both of them put a security hold on the new credit cards because I was trying to get some gas for one. I was like, it wouldn't work. It just kept getting declined. So expect if you get a brand new credit card in the current credit environment that they're going to monitor your spending off the riff, because that's what they were doing. And essentially, I had to call in and verify it was me making the charges. You know, I did that video where I talked about Capital One cutting people's credit limits, and that was really significant because Capital One bathes into the subprime credit market. That's where they live. And if they're cutting credit limits, oh man, they don't really see some good stuff. But one of the things that I'm doing for the Corporate Toolbox, let me go ahead and talk about this. Whatever I talk about on the channel, I go ahead and I do it so I can know what's going down, how it's working, and how it works out. Like, I've got one new corporate credit card without a PG. That took 3 weeks. I had to submit forms. I had to submit corporate documents. And we went back and forth, and I had to do this, and I had to do this. And I was just like, good Lord. But I got that done. And this is on the new holding company. Tomorrow, I have an appointment for another corporate card because essentially this is going to be with the Wells Fargo product. So I can talk about it. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to actually put $25,000 down to get a secured credit card. And let me tell you why this. Because the Wells Fargo secured credit card unsecures. It's going to unsecure at whatever limit. Let's see. And whatever limit that it's at. Or as the guy who told me, because essentially, let me tell you the whole ordeal. You can get the Wells Fargo card two ways. You can open up a business checking account, or you can open up a business savings account. So I opened up a business savings account because I already have a business checking account. And then I wrote the check Saturday. The money came out Monday. And because it's a new account, they put a hold on it, which I will have released tomorrow. And then I will go ahead and app for the credit card. Now, this new credit environment is radically different from the old credit environment. It is a totally different animal. Like, this weekend I was watching football, and it was just strange to see all these games with no fans in the stadiums. That was just strange. But I was just reflecting back upon what has happened to me with these credit cards. And also, let's talk about, you need to have some cash in the bank. Even if you're dealing with credit, because see, this is one of the things, and this is why I'm being very careful when I talk about credit. A lot of people want to go ahead and get this credit funding, go ahead and get the credit cards so they can have it. Business is both. It is business and personal credit. So appreciate that, John. So essentially, this environment is going to go on for a while. You're going to be experiencing this. And one of the things is you want to have some cash because they're slashing credit limits, both personal and business. American Express is just cutting people off at the ankles. So if you're on a situation where you just have credit and you don't have no cash, you can get caught slipping. So this is one of the things that in this new credit environment, you've got to have cash as a backup. Now, one of the things that I'm getting ready to do in 2021 is invest in rental real estate. I'm going to become a landlord. And I'm getting ready to gear up and start spending a lot of money on paid traffic. And what I'm going to do is all my personal credit cards are completely paid off. I don't have any debt on my personal credit cards. But I started thinking, when you're running paid traffic, when you get up to a certain level, because I got one credit card, I got a new credit card with a $50,000 limit, and I have two others. But I wanted to have all of this on the corporate side. So I got one corporate credit card, and I'm going to get another corporate credit card, and I'm going to run all of that paid traffic on those corporate credit cards. Both of those credit cards are rewards credit cards. So I'm getting ready to revamp my whole thing because I'm getting ready to do a lot of paid advertising on LinkedIn and YouTube. And once I get it all scaled up, but you got to be really, really aware of what you're getting yourself into with this new corporate credit environment. If you are just out here messing around with no cash and just credit only, that can come back to haunt you. That can come back. That can be a nightmare. Yep, pay off the credit cards because they are cutting people off. Yeah, you got to stack your paper because essentially what is happening right now is the banks are spooked and they're worried that some of these people are going to start living on credit cards versus cash. And they're spooked out of their minds. And it's funny. It is really, really funny how the banks are treating people right now because this is a phase. Banks are tightening up all of their lending guidelines. They're tightening up their credit card guidelines. And if you are a person who is just 100% dependent on credit and you have no cash, that could be really, really bad. I had someone call me and said that all of their credit cards, because they had some credit issues, like if you have derogatory items on your credit report, you will be in the crosshairs for a credit cram down or an elimination of your account. And see, this is really different because this recession was caused by the fear of the Rona, and it has created such madness and it has created such a pandemic, such a movement that this like I said, what I'm doing with the Corporate Toolbox is going to teach you how to build corporate credit way faster than the old way. And this is why I'm going through this. And this stuff is taking time because we're having the email, we're having, it takes a minute. Pretty much. And one of the things that is going to happen is 2021 for many people is going to be worse than 2020. It's going to be worse. This is when a lot of these protections run out. Because let's say if Trump stays in office and the Senate manages to hold on to the House, we have seen what they're going to do for the people. The Democrats passed a bill months ago and the Senate, the GOP Senate just sat on it. Right now, we're in it's the middle of September. We're 15 days away from October. And there may not be another stimulus check before the election. Oh man, you know it, Rael. You know it. So one of the things that is going to happen is you're going to have to begin working on your own protection plan, your own savings plan, because right now there is madness going on in the markets, like with this whole thing with credit. One of the things that I am doing is I am preparing for the future. One of the reasons that I am getting the Wells Fargo secured business credit card is because this will give me two references that are reporting to Duns and Bradstreet and to the business credit card receptacles. Now, I will be able to leverage those two cards into more business credit down the road. About the 6-month mark, I'll be able to go ahead and get more no PG credit because I will already have a corporate credit. Because let me tell you what I had to do to get the first corporate credit card. They will underwrite you one of two ways. They will underwrite you with a FICO score, and I said I didn't want to do that. So they underwrote me based upon the cash flow of the business, bank records, and such. I had to turn all of that stuff in, and then they approved the card based on that. So if you have cash flow, you have an established business, you have proof of work, this will get you non-PG credit. And right now, everybody wants to get credit based on vanity credit. You know, people just want to like go off their FICO, get, $20,000, $30,000 credit card and have that. I found another person who did another video talking about stop freaking out about your FICO score. And, it was very much in line with what I was saying. But this new environment is not going to be kind to people with bad money management habits. It's not going to be kind to you, and banks may start closing checking accounts again. See, this is relatively new. It used to be if you wrote too many bad checks, your bank would close your account. Now they just let you write those bad checks and get those additional fees. And as long as you can pay those fees, they don't really care. But we may be going back. Russie, when you're starting out your corporation and operating company, will you take most of the corporation money to help pay off personal debt faster, or will you stick to your set salary? I would try to get rid of that debt before I started the business because that's going to be a big drag. You can start a service business and make some additional cash to throw at that debt, but I would not suffocate or rob the corporation because essentially, let me go ahead and give you my plan. I'm putting myself on salary, and all of the cash in the company is going to go towards investments. If I had debt and I was having to rob the investment plan, I would be cheating myself. I still write checks. I got checks in the office right now. So one of the things that, that when we get into the, let's see, I got all kinds of stuff going on here. So writing checks is part of a corporate banking because I was waiting to go through this procedure before I did the next section of the corporate toolbox because I didn't drop any training today because it's just crazy because this COVID thing is just slowing everything down. It's just holding everything up. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to give people good content, good training. Because essentially, I wrote from one corporate account to another corporate account. because banks get really funny when you take out large amounts of cash. They get very, very funny. I remember when I was going to buy the X5, I went to the bank and I said I needed X amount of cash. They didn't have it. And she told me that they would have to order the cash. So there could have been, like, more than likely this branch had 25,000, but then again, you got to fill out the forms and all this other stuff. And I didn't want to go through this. I did not want to go through this because also with the corporate banking, I've got it set up. I've got a fintech bank for two of the operating companies. I'm going to do a review on that. In the banks, I'm going to transfer the bank from money from one account to another, because essentially, since I'm about to go on salary, probably November, I will just be transferring company money once or twice a month. I haven't really set up a schedule because I've got a lot of money sitting in the operating company account. And on the 21st, I'm going to have a bunch of money come into that account. Well, I'm going to find out who they report to, because my other corporate card, and this is why I have two, I'm going to see who they report to. Because like I said, once you go ahead and you start taking out a lot of cash out the bank, they be tripping. You have to take it out little bit by little bit, or it's a nightmare. It is really a nightmare. But be advised that this new corporate checking, credit, business, and personal, it's going to be with us for a minute. This isn't going to be something that's just going to be here for a little season and it's going to disappear, because I've been pushing hard to get this stuff set up. And due to COVID, like with many banks, you have to have an appointment to sit down and talk to someone. And this is one of the reasons that I like the fintech banks, because I can just set up my account from my computer. But with Wells Fargo, Chase, you actually have to go into a branch and talk to someone. And I'm just really glad that I set up this holding company a few years ago. I know. Wells Fargo, essentially, all of the big banks have had some kind of issue in the past. An LLC is a corporation. When you establish an LLC, you establish a corporation. An LLC is treated as a corporation. It's not treated as an Inc., an incorporation, but an LLC is a corporation. I would actually, if I had to start a service business, let's say I wanted to start a painting company, I would start the painting company right now without any corporate entity. And once the painting company started moving and making money, then I would create a corporation. That's how I would do it. It really depends on what you're doing, Chris Hill. Like, I have two holding companies, but I'm getting ready to shut one down, because essentially I've come up with a better game plan, much better game plan. And the first holding company was set up because I had a situation, which I'm not worried about any longer. Not worried about it at all. Because as we go down this route, as we go ahead and start to set things up. I'm disabled. Start an internet business if you're disabled. That's the only advice I have for you. You can do that. You can do all kinds of stuff. Appreciate it, Diana. One of the things is we're going to limp through this recovery because make no mistake about it. We're not going to shut down again. Ain't going to happen. It was just too brutal, too hard, just created so many problems. We're not shutting down again, regardless of whatever happens with the infection rate. This is why they're pushing forward with college football. This is why they're pushing forward with the NFL. It is just weird to see these games play. There's nobody in the stadium. There are no fans there. There is nothing going on. Nothing. But I'm here to tell you, because I will be doing this in the Corporate Toolbox. I'll be talking about business credit and also having a safety net, because, for the longest times you could have credit and they would not cram down your limit, even if you had bad stuff on your credit report. That's not the environment that we have going on right now. The environment we have going on right now is one that is very, very dicey and tricky. Yep. 30 days 25 is very much for a service company. Edward Crawley, if I was going to start a new business, I would just start another operating company. It could be a big headache because essentially you would have to rewrite the articles of organization and you would have to do all that. So we talk about that in the Corporate Toolbox, because all of the stuff that you would have to do to turn a regular LLC into a holding company, it's just easier to just start a holding company and go from there. Chris Wright, you could do it yourself. That's what I advise people to do, because there's so many things that are going on. I work on it for a couple hours every single night. So because probably this week we will finish up the corporate stuff and then get into, because it's going to be a lot longer to get into the business stuff, because essentially the Corporate Toolbox teaches you how to set up a holding company, teaches you how to set up your operating companies, teach you how to start your company, teach you how to structure your company, and teach you how to scale your company. Why don't you just start it off as an operating company? Why don't you just go ahead and set up your holding company and operating company from day one? Because we're not really talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about, let's say, whatever your state charges for an LLC, we're talking about that times 2. It's just going to be easier and cleaner. And one of the things that I talked about in the corporate toolbox is thinking about your business model and thinking deeply about it, so you don't have to, like, you start a company, then like 6 months later you change your mind and you want to do something else. We talk about that. And that's how your service business should be placed under your holding company. I feel that it depends upon how the business is positioned, because like in the video that I put up today, bike companies are doing amazingly well during this. Bike companies, I'm like, they don't even know when they can order me a bike because they ran out. So you got to look at what kind of business you're in. Like bike companies, Uber Eats, DoorDash, they're exploding. So it really just depends upon what your business model is, and are you deeply wedded to the internet? Because if you don't have an internet business model, you can have some serious economic fallout. You can have some crazy stuff that can happen. So one of the big things that happened was we've had a lot of restaurants go out of business. A lot of restaurants just went out of business. They closed their doors, and their doors are never going to open again. So for many type of businesses like that, because essentially one of the first things that we're going to talk about is starting internet businesses. This is one of the things I'm going to spend a lot of time on: internet businesses and business models. You can, but I would actually just form the operating company from the holding company. Prince Diamond, thanks you for the $50 super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, this corporate game, it's the best thing going, because like I said, my goal is to create 50,000, 50,000 corporate citizens over the next 5 years. Now, what does that mean? What does that look like? I'm creating people like me who have corporations, who have money, who play the corporate game so they can get this money. So that's one of the things. So this is one of the things that I'm looking at doing. But I just wanted to scream at you guys about the new credit environment, because right now there's a lot of people who are pushing like 0% financing, getting credit cards. And I'm here to tell you, getting new credit cards is a crapshoot in this new environment, even if you have a good credit score. Because I had 2 new credit cards and they both clowned on me, and hopefully that issue is cleared up, because I tried to use them and they had them blocked. So if you want to be a member of the Corporate Toolbox, go below. You have 2 ways to get in. You can get in at $150 per month for 16 months, or you can get in for $2,400. And that's a one-time payment, because next month the payment's going to go up on both ways. Not forming any group. I want to teach people how to set up their own companies so everybody can be like George Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's all I got for you guys. I will see you in the next one.